Hello everybody and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today I'm with another YouTuber called Halo Gaming 08 and today we're going to be discussing the ReviewTechUSA situation that's been unfolding for about the past 8 months. Now we've both been watching ReviewTechUSA for about 10 years now, so I would consider us to be absolutely fans of his channel, and this is just our unbiased take on the situation, and we both had our own points on the situation. So with that being said, let's get into the Discord call we had. Before we start talking about the Review Tech situation, I just want to know, Halo Gaming 08, was that the original name you had when you first made the channel?
No, actually, it was Ultimate Game Review 11, but that was like from many years ago. Like that was like kind of like a placeholder name before I wanted to do what I kind of do now. So that's kind of why I changed. So I just because it was sort of a change. That's kind of why I just changed it. So that's basically the whole story behind it, really.
Okay, yeah, because I went when I was viewing your channel. I went to the oldest videos and like I saw you
Oh man.
3DS.
Oh yeah, from like what, like over 10 years ago.
Yeah,
Holy crap! Like, that just kind of brings back like I didn't really think that people would kind of go dig like that deep, if you know what I mean, because it's so old.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right.
YouTube removed it for a while, but they brought it back. It was the short by like the day added, so I just clicked oldest, and I just saw you like playing your 3DS, playing like
Okay.
Mario 3D Land.
Oh yeah, that's how you know it was that old. That's how you know. That's like from like ages ago. So yeah, so that is actually correct. Like it wasn't the original name, but I did change it. What was it? I think it was like a few years ago. I think it was I'm trying to think, maybe 2021. I think it was when the rebrand happened.
Okay.
So it's been a few years. So it's been a few years.
Okay, I just want to ask because that
No,
name
no,
brings, that name brings
you're
back
good.
like old YouTube vibes right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I first made the channel back in like 2011, so but I mean it was like ancient, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. But speaking of channels that's 10 years old, let's talk about one that just recently got deleted.
Oh man, don't even. Oh man, like this dude, like I have a lot of things to say about this guy, especially considering the things that have happened recently. My history with him.
Hold up. Before we talk about him, I just want to say, how long have you been watching him? Like, do you remember the first video you seen?
The first video I did, I've seen him, which was 2014, which is funny because it was actually a video right around the time E3 was coming around, like where he was saying that again he made a video saying like why he returned the Xbox One. I mean, which I kind of get because at the time, like everyone was down on the Xbox brand at the time. I mean, technically he still is really with the recent things, but that's a whole different story though. So, but basically, it was like right before when the Master Chief Collection was announced, so and a bunch of other things that kind of it was essentially like right as Phil was taking over from Don Matrick. So
Okay.
that was the very first video, and I've watched Rich ever since. So that's kind of my history with him. So and I've watched him pretty much this whole entire time, pretty much. So
So you go way back. You go back like 2013.
10 years.
Yeah,
10 years.
that's about the same time I watched him. I watched him when he made that video about the guy, the little kid that was in ROTC, and the police mistaken
Oh,
his
Christian. Yep.
yeah. No, not Chris Chan. I'm talking about when the police
What was
mistaken
her-
that it was like the Wii remote.
Oh, now I remember. Okay, now I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, so that's how long I watched him. And the reason why I asked like how long you've been watching him and stuff is because a lot of people they say they've been fans and stuff. So I just wanted to see like, if you actually been watching his channel that long. So what's your opinion on him deleting his channel?
I think it was a grave mistake because first off, because you're talking about a channel that had over 1 million subscribers. That is not an easy feat to do. Like that is not easy to do, especially over how long. I mean, that's really think about it. That's 15 years of YouTube history just down the toilet. You know what I mean? That's kind of my whole thing. So, and I've seen many others kind of have the same take that I have, where it's a giant mistake, you know.
Okay,
And
I
let's not
see.
even forget. Oh, what's your take on that?
Well, I really don't think it's really much of a loss. Like people say it's history, but what was lost? Like in your opinion, what did YouTube
Hmm.
lose?
It's mostly a loss for for the people that have watched them for so long. I say that's probably like more not necessarily YouTube itself, just a matter of for the people that watched them for so long, like you and I have. That's kind of where my angle was. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure there's people that would still go back and watch old videos, especially if it's evergreen stuff. I remember fondly, like, where there was, like, a funny story he did about some stalker that he had, like, back in the day. I thought that video was, like, kind of pretty hilarious. And kind of wild at the same time. So it's kind of,
See,
like, just one of those examples. I remember another one, which was, like, he did a review with Intro Guy about, the TurboGrafx 16 handheld. So, which that was pretty hilarious too. So, just examples like that, basically.
yeah, that's the only thing I can see that was lost. Like the stalker stories, his dating nightmares, and I was looking at some of the channels that archived some of his content, and I saw one video when it was him and intro guy like just driving around, like reviewing cars. So stuff like that I'm going to miss. But that wasn't really the majority of his content. The
No,
majority of his content was like him, like just doing news stories. And to be honest with you, that's kind of what he can do with his live streams.
yeah, really, if he really so wanted to, yeah. Which I mean, like, if I was gone, like nobody would really care probably because like that's what majority of my stuff was. Even though I've kind of experimented with like reviews on and other stuff, so you know what I mean. So just stuff like kind of stuff like that.
Like
But
I don't even have like a formula for my channel. I kind of just upload whatever I want, to be honest with you.
I've mostly done that too. Mostly nowadays. So like for example, like one of the more recent ones I did pretty good, which was where I talked about the whole issues that Halo Studios can run into with Unreal. Because we both know, for anyone who's in the gaming space, at least the modern day anyway, where that engine could have like a real stuttering issue, especially on PC. But that's a whole different topic, though.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't seen that video. The latest video I seen from you was like the new Sonic versus Shadow game.
oh, that was the latest one, yeah. Which is funny because I'm in the process of doing like basically after I do like both stories, which I've done one, haven't finished the other. But once I do that, I'm gonna do a review of that one. So do a review because typically for me recently, like when it comes to like stuff like that, I'll do like review. If I've like covered it before, I'll do a review on it. Like
Okay.
for example, I reviewed like Halo Infinite for instance. I've done other stuff too. It was more so just kind of broadening it. So
To be
but
honest with
especially if like, go ahead.
to be honest with you, like I think the problem with your channel is that how you have it outlined, it's kind of hard to find the stuff. Like if I wanted to go there
Oh
specifically for
yeah, I
reviews,
can
it's
see
kind of
that.
hard to find.
That's
Like
that's definitely that's definitely fair. And what also doesn't help, obviously, is that just how the YouTube algorithm is. Like you essentially sometimes have to get lucky.
you,
It's like a game of chance, pretty much.
what do you want to know how I found your channel?
How?
I actually found it because you responded to like a glitch that was going on to like YouTube Studio that Rich commented on. And I found it through that because YouTube really doesn't recommend smaller channels. So I kind of have to go through different avenues to like find smaller creators.
That's kind of what I mean by that. Like they don't really shout out small channels usually, so they only care about like the big stuff. Ever notice that it's only when you're like really huge is that when they actually pay attention? You notice that?
Yeah. And they're making it even worse now by testing out deleting
Oh,
the view count.
oh my gosh, that is such a disaster. But yeah, so going back to Rich though, how do you feel about the recent controversy surrounding, I guess, like there's like a whole mess apparently, like where with the whole cheating thing, I guess, apparently, but not to get into too personal or anything like that, but it just doesn't paint him in a good look. You know, that's kind of like the whole thing with him recently. Like, or it's just not painting him in a good light, especially after the whole deleting his channel thing.
I honestly, to me, that channel, as I said, like most people just wanted the channel for themselves. I honestly think him deleting it was kind of like a boss move because he had all these people like wanting it. He was
Oh,
just like, I don't
yeah.
care about it. But when it comes to the cheating thing, I don't think people should really be bringing that stuff up.
Like, I don't know where that source even came. Apparently, it's like somebody leaked it to Keemstar. Like, it's like I guess apparently his former editor leaked it, but I don't know how truthful that is, so I'm not really going to comment on it that much.
No,
So
the
I don't know the full context behind it.
yeah, Rich did a live stream on it. Apparently, it was somebody he was just having a relationship with, and Locale Live tricked her into leaking that stuff because they was making it like Rich was leaking news of her, so she leaked news of him.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, there was also texts between his ex Lauren and one of the mistress, and apparently it was confirmed that he actually did cheat. Apparently, so I'm like, ooh, like because if that's truly the case and that he actually did, that kind of makes him paint out as a hypocrite. Because I remember in news stories, he would actually say that he hates cheating, so that just makes him look even worse when it comes to that kind of thing. So. And I've said this when this whole thing started. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. Like, he needs to actually take a break. I remember him saying that he was going to, but then that obviously didn't pan out, obviously.
Well, see, here's one
So,
thing. Here's one thing I will defend Jay on, and the fact that Jay's gone. Because I don't know if you remember this, but when he was feeding the troll, it was actually Jay that told him to step out, and no one's really
yeah,
doing that
he
for him
did.
this time.
No, he's not. So he's actually going against what, people who are friends of his have told him. Like, don't ignore him. You're just feeding them, It will just make them more attack, essentially go after him even more, really. Because if you ignore them, probably almost if not every single one of them will just go away. They'll just move on to someone else.
Well, see, I think the
So
problem is, and he brought this in a live stream, like, I think he was with his family, and his family was like, if they making money off of you, you should make money off of your name too. Which it works, but I think he just needs to, like, just not respond to anything and just, like, do his normal live streams.
yeah, and like there's another YouTuber who just ignores drama and nobody really bothers him really. So which is someone that Rich has actually done videos on before, defending him and whatnot. Which is Spawnwave Media's. He doesn't involve in drama or anything, and people just leave him alone. He just does his own thing. So, and he's nearly as big as Rich's original channel was. So that should kind of tell us something. You just mind your own business, and people like your content, they'll stick around.
I
You
mean,
know?
that's true, but I think, like, he cultivated that audience early on in his like YouTube career, so it's kind of hard to like unreverse the damage that's done. But eventually, people's gonna forget about this.
Yeah. Yep. Unless like something happens again or whatnot, and then it will be brought up again. I'm sure, but I guess time will tell. When that happens. But because a lot of things can happen.
When
Like
it comes
very fast.
when it comes to Jay though, like, what do you think about? Do you think the stuff about the keyloggers is true?
Do I think so? I'm not sure because it seemed based on the surface that they had a pretty good relationship until the whole firing and all that happened. So I don't know like where they're at now in terms of their relationship. It seems like it's because for a while it seemed like it was going good again, but then it went bad again. So I don't know. So it could be true. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it personally. Like he might have done it, then he might be innocent in that. It was just pure coincidence that Jay got hacked or whatever. You know what I mean? It could have been
Well,
pure coincidence for all I know.
well, here's what
So
people is.
it just so happened that the IP address was from someone in Rich Estate, which is New York.
Well,
So
here's what people don't talk about, and I have a video of it on my Twitter account. But at one point, somebody was hacking into Rich's computer and just streaming his studio when no one was there. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember. Like nobody was there. Yeah, I actually remember that.
And
Yeah,
that's yeah. So it's kind of like, I mean, I don't think Rich would do it. One mistake Rich did do is just not formatting the computer before he sent it out. He literally just gave it to Jay with all his stuff on it.
yeah, that was definitely a fatal flaw because that's kind of how people think that the whole Dropbox situation happened because like he didn't format his computer or whatnot that he sent to Jay. That was kind of the whole theory going around at the time that it was from that computer that Rich sent to him, but he didn't format the computer. So if he had done that, I personally think that the Dropbox leak probably wouldn't have happened. But that's just me kind of speculating or mongering on that. But that's just me though.
Well, you have a valid point. What I think happened, and I can't really prove this, but what I think happened is I don't think it was Kino Casino. What I think happened is that he didn't format the computer. But when Jay hooked it up to the Wi-Fi network, because when he connected the computer to his Wi-Fi, it showed the IP address from Canada, and Jay just went through the Dropbox to see if there was anything like he needed from like
And that's how the pictures came about I guess his ex's kids, I believe is what it was.
yeah, because he had
Because
the
I remember that's what people were thinking that Rich was a what, I'm not gonna say it because YouTube terms of service, but you kind of know what word I'm referring to.
yeah.
Yep. So
But see,
so I think that's where. So personally, I think we're both seems like we're both agreed that it's in terms of because Rich didn't format the computer like he should have.
yeah, like
Because
and the crazy
I'm in the
thing,
firm belief that if he hadn't done that, the Dropbox leak wouldn't have happened, or it would have been something else that would have led to it.
the Dropbox leak wouldn't have happened, and this whole keylogger situation wouldn't even be a problem. And that's the thing too. It's like it's just Rich made fun of DSP for like not knowing how to install Windows, but it's like you don't know you're not supposed to
Yeah.
format a computer before you send it to someone. Like when you're trading your game consoles to GameStop, the first thing they make you do is format it.
Yep. Or any piece of hardware for that matter. Or any piece of hardware when you're trying to exchange it for something else, like the first, essentially what is the golden rule is that you need to freaking format it because
Yeah,
that's just how it goes.
yeah, because it's just a security concern if you don't.
Exactly. And this is a perfect example of how a security issue could rise. That's a
So
perfect example of it.
so with that being said, do you think Jay should just let it go?
At this point, yeah, because it's been going on for months, so I do think that Jay should move on and kind of focus on his own thing, which generally he is, unless if someone asks him about Rich, which I personally also feel that if someone asks him about Rich, I think he should just avoid it because it would just bring on the drama even more. So it's a history, it's a cycle that aggressively keeps repeating itself. That's how I feel about it. So
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I honestly think they should just leave it go because it's just a constant back and forth, and nobody's really going to win. But what do you think? Do you think ReviewTechUSA is going to like come out of this situation in a better position, or do you think it's going to actually be the downfall of his career?
If he keeps it up at the way he's going, I think it's going to be ending the downfall of his career, honestly. But you never know. People have made comebacks, so we'll see what happens. So we'll truly see what happens with that.
To
But
be on, to be honest with you, I honestly think this is going to be a good outcome from him because if you really go back to like the beginning of his like older videos, like he never thought YouTube channel was going to like pay his bills. He always wanted to do like radio and be a like live
no, he
streamer.
didn't. No, he
You don't
didn't. Heck,
you don't think so?
like no. Here's my thing. Okay, like this is kind of where my take may be controversial. I personally feel it would be if he continues like this and doesn't take a break and actually kind of get mental help, which I do think he needs because of everything that's happened with his family and everything. Because you can tell when we found out about his daughter thing, that's kind of how I knew that something wasn't right mentally. That's kind of how I feel about it. And I've had this thought for a while that she should take a break, which initially seemed like he was going to. So that's kind of how I feel about it. That he should, kind of get some help, focus on his personal life, then come back, when he's in a better place, I'm not saying, like, never come back. I would never say that to anybody. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my whole thing.
I get what you're saying to a certain extent, but like this is his job. Like he can't just like take months off, or he's not going to have like income coming in, and that's kind of the downside.
I wasn't saying months or anything like that. Like a short break, I wasn't talking about like a lengthy period of time. Just like a short break,
Yeah,
that's what I was all saying. And the thing about him not, would have been the good thing of keeping his channel alive is like where he could just have passive income to kind of just rely on for a bit while he's on that break. But now that option is no longer there, he'll have to figure out something else. If he decides to actually, do that break that I mentioned.
What passive income are you talking about? Are you talking about the his main YouTube channel?
Yes, that's what I was talking about, because he actually said on the stream that he was making like $600, I think, a month. Like,
he was actually
really
losing,
think about it, like way back in the day, that would actually get you a lot, really.
He was actually losing like $200 though.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because he was paying a clips editor just to do the clips, and that passive income was with clips going up. So he was actually losing money with it.
Yeah. Or what he could have done is just like kind of record videos in advance, before he went on hiatus, and just schedule them to upload like he's done before. Because he's actually done that many times, so.
I honestly just believe he should have just left the clips thing alone, because like his channel is fun. Yeah. Or if he did want to make clips, like the little skits he had at the beginning of his videos when he was working with Jay.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, just put those up there as clips.
Yeah, because those were like skits that people really enjoyed. Some of them were like really hilarious, So, and I would say that brought him, a chunk of his fan base over the past couple of years, honestly.
Yeah, and not only that, like when he was doing them skits and stuff, I don't know if you know how the YouTube algorithm works, but it keeps people within the first like 20 seconds of the video, and if you can keep someone engaged that long, they're most likely going to watch the rest of it.
Yep, I totally agree with that completely. So, and that would actually incentivize YouTube, the algorithm, to actually promote it even more. So, like for sure,
So, is there anything else you can have in on this, or final thoughts?
I think like my final take is on this is that where if he doesn't like kind of do something, it could lead to his downfall. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying this is me speculating on that, but this is kind of me just saying that if he doesn't like do something, it could. I'm not saying it will. I would never say that about anybody, and I hope all the best for him. I truly do. As somebody who's watched him for as long as I have, So I hope for the best for him. That's all I can say on it.
Okay.
How about you?
Okay.
What is your final take?
I honestly think that this isn't really going to be like the end of him. This ain't his downfall. I honestly think this is just a new chapter in his life, and that YouTube channel is just part of history that's just over with in general when it comes to YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's over. Like he's made it abundantly clear that he's not going to bring it back, no matter how many times people ask him to. It's kind of reverse it, because you actually can, if you're quick enough, you can actually get that channel back. I mean, Keemstar has even told him that he would help him get his channel back, even if Keemstar doesn't like him. So,
nah, I think
that's been a thing for so long. So, but yeah, I don't think it's coming back. I don't think so.
Nah, it's
so
not.
Really, the only way for his content to remain around is that people archive it, which it seems like people are already doing that. So,
Well, before I came on the
But-
call, I looked at a couple of videos that was archived, and yeah, there's a couple of channels that's archiving some of his videos, and it's usually the good ones too, not the news stories.
Oh, well, yeah, like the news stories were just kind of him, just kind of making sure, I guess, making sure that his channel kind of maybe something he wanted to do for a time, but that's obviously changed as he's said it since, like, what was it?
As I was saying, when it came back to when we thought he was done with YouTube, I honestly thought it was when the Quantum TV stuff happened and he got that basically slap on the wrist and he was like, okay, I'm done with YouTube. I don't have the protection on my account anymore. I honestly think that's when he was done.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was just kind of just festering until now. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I honestly think what he should have done is like, if he really wanted it to end, he should have just probably done it quicker and stuck to it because he kind of dragged it out. And he honestly did that in the worst possible way. Like, he just kind of fired his editor and like, even
Yeah.
what was it, Rebecca? Even Rebecca and Rich agreed with this. Was like, yeah, he should have just gave him like that $500 and just been done with it.
Yep. Yeah, because if he hadn't, because essentially if he hadn't done it, if he would have done that, like that kind of the whole drama between them wouldn't have happened, and they probably still would be on good terms. Probably.
He would have probably been on
I'm not
good
saying
terms.
that's like guaranteed or anything. I just think it's something that could have happened.
It would have definitely made things a lot easier when it came to the transition of whatever he wants to do. And he probably would have kept his YouTube channel because I think part of the reason why he deleted it was simply for the fact that he was just getting a whole bunch of like comments and a whole bunch of hate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he said himself it was kind of from a different era that he was just done with it.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that's everything we have to say on this situation. It's been about 30 minutes already. Anything you want to add?
Yep. Nope. I pretty much got everything I needed to say.